Hi, this is Amir Anzor, and I am with an author who's written a brilliant book on an African dictator, and we're going to hear all about it. Albere Junior Correa. Uh, Albere, why did you write this book?
Um, First of all, thank you for having me here. Um, so this book, I actually wrote this book 5 years ago. I started writing it, and basically, I wrote it as a Gambian first and foremost. I just felt compelled to actually document um, all the brutality that Yahya Jammeh, the former president, inflicted on the people after watching the TRRC, the Truth and um, the Reconciliation Committees, Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Committees, um, final conclusions on the whole process of interviewing the perpetrators and the victims. I was sitting there watching and I couldn't believe, you know, like these things actually happened. So I actually started writing the book before the TRRC because I went to Gambia and found so many things that were wrong, you know, with Yahya Jammeh's regime. And when I came back, I thought, okay, I have to start writing. And that's how everything happened.
Perfect. I mean, Albert is based in Silicon Valley, works with one of the big tech firms, and has been doing this on the side for a while. And then we met about, I think, a couple of weeks ago, and you said just help you to publish the book. So what we've done is work with Albert to put his book on Amazon. Now, how does it feel to be a published author?
It just feels awesome. When I finished talking to Sam, who was doing most of the heavy lifting, when she told me, "Oh, it's done," I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's just a big relief because I've promised for 5 years. I kept writing on, telling them that the book is almost ready. It's gonna be published, and I mean, I kept doing it, and I just kept feeling bad because some people were like, "This guy is just talking," you know. And I obviously have to thank all those patient people that were with me up to date. Every time I post, they'll be like, "Where can we buy this book? How can we buy this book?" And meeting you actually gave me the final push because you told me just publish it. And I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't know if I should. And you're like, just publish it, you know. And that gave me, when you said that, I was like, okay, yeah, I just need to publish it, because all the editors that I used almost like four different editors. And mind you, I paid almost 3,000 to each, so about 15,000. But I never felt like it was ready until when I met you. I don't know, for some reason, I just believed you. And the confidence you have, I wish I had that to just get things done, because that's my nature. I just like to do things, you know, too perfectly sometimes. And sometimes that's not the way to do things.
Yeah,
And thank you for pushing me because that gave me. I told us Sam yesterday that you actually gave me the confidence, and you have to get credit for it. You know, and the way you present yourself, because I was sleeping, and then when I woke up, I saw your LinkedIn, notification. I'm like, I'm not even friends with this guy, and I don't follow this guy on LinkedIn. How did he? So I started thinking, okay, yeah, maybe he did, you know, the advertisement tools and all this marketing tools. He used he obviously has some skills. So when I clicked on it and I saw you and I listened to you, then I'm like, okay, this is the guy I need. So it's a divine intervention too. You came at the right time. And when I checked your company, your profile on LinkedIn and everything, I was like, okay, yep. And then when I spoke to you, that was the icing on the cake. I was like, this is the guy I've been looking for a very long time, and I found him. So thank you.
No, that's amazing. There's one statistic that 81% of Americans want to write a book someday, and a lot less than 1% of them actually do. And there's like, you are passion driven. You wrote your book, although you're based in the US, you wanted to help the Gambian people, and not only the Gambian people, but people in other African countries or other places in the world, that so they don't get into this type of mess where they have a dictator abusing the power of religion and spirituality to con them. And it's been really great working with you and our team. Sam's on our team, who's just publishing what you've done. And the challenge comes as authors is that we are too scared to get in the ring, right? Because once you're in the ring, you're gonna get a beating, right? Some people are gonna be like, this book, like, because they're gonna be fans of this dictator too, right? So you have to remember there's going to be fans of the dictator because the dictator gave him jobs or whatever it is, help them with money. And they're going to be like, oh, this book is trash. But what I like about you, you want to make an impact in the world, and you're doing it through a book, and you've researched hard on it. It's not an overnight book. If you show us a copy of it, we can see, like, you spent like a good 5 years researching it and putting it together. I tell people
Yeah.
you can do it much faster, right? So, but yeah, in the last couple of weeks, I think 6 weeks or 7 weeks, we've been able to just take it and then, distribute it through Amazon, and then now like go through the marketing efforts, which will include things like doing podcasts like this, going to influencers, giving out a copy of your book, and all these things. So I think you should be very proud of yourself, because now you're in the very few minority that actually they talk about doing a book someday, and now that has done it, right? Now it's going to
Yeah.
be available everywhere. People can order
Mhm.
it wherever they are in the world, because Amazon
Mhm.
distributes to most places. And
Mhm.
also, like, the book is not the end, right? So you don't necessarily are going to sell 1 million copies, but the
Mhm.
book will get you influence, right? So you talked about movie rights.
Mhm.
Like, you just have to sell 10 copies of the book, and then if one of them is to a movie director, you could get a movie made of this topic.
Mhm.
And also, because of this book, you're gonna get invited to truth and reconciliation committees, or
Mhm.
like you're gonna get invited by government, because it's like you're seen as the expert, not just government, but like television stations, etc.,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you can show that. So that is really, really well done. So what are your plans for marketing it? Where are you gonna take this book now?
Yeah. So from here, we just have to take the baton and run with it. Because right now, I feel like we got this is like just the beginning. So we are actually it's like a marathon, or you know, I don't know, like how do you call the baton race?
Yeah,
It's a
relay.
it's on the next there. So we just got the book. Now we have to basically push it. So the main thing, like I already told you, a couple of agents have reached out to me, movie agents in the past. So we have to obviously find the authenticity of these people and see if they really mean business. And I already obviously we have it on the database of all the I don't know if it's the international, but the US authors database, this book has already been on it. So a lot of publishing companies, know about it. So now that I have it, because I didn't publish it before. So when people reach out, I always told them like it's not ready, you know. And but now since we have it, and you are the expert, so I have somebody I can really trust with this, with this book. And I believe with your guidance, there's so many things we can do to make this book a success. Because, Jammeh's story needs to be heard. A lot of people here don't even know about him. They've never heard of him.
Yeah.
So I've spoken, like yesterday, I was in the shopping mall and I spoke to this lady and she was like, where you from? And I said, oh, Gambia. And she's like, oh, I never heard of Gambia. Where's that? So I started telling her that actually I published a book just like an hour ago about the whole Gambia and politics and everything. And she's like, really? So I started telling her about Jammeh and all the stuff he did. And she was like gobsmacked. She was like, are you kidding me? And when I told her he's actually a US trained soldier that went back to Africa, staged the coup d'etat, and basically just kept his people in bondage, you know, just because he wants to stay in power. So he did so many horrible things. Just the mere fact of waking up and saying God gave you sixth sense to you can actually talk to spirits and your ancestors. And now you are being ordained, the gift of healing HIV/AIDS. To me, that's just, if you say that to any sane person, they will say, you crazy, something is wrong with you.
Mm.
But still the Gambian people believed him and were sending their family members who were like really sick for this man to treat them. Can you imagine your family member getting so sick and some random dude just shows up and says, hey, I can cure your brother, your father, your mother, your sister, and you basically believe him and said, yeah, take, and then the guy gives them like concussion, bananas, and all these other herbs, you know, and then you finally see your sick family member dying, because he was actually stopped from taking Western medicine.
Wow.
Or you wake up one morning and your family member is being called a witch, humiliated, and given all these concussions to drink, you know, only to be, you know, harassed and humiliated in public, or even death sometimes. So it's his story is really bizarre. At the same time, it's very difficult to even begin to comprehend because I've never seen anything like it. I've never heard of it. And this is the first time, and it's actually happening on my doorstep. Like, I'm thinking, what if my mom gets sick, or my dad gets sick, or my sisters, my brothers get sick? Is this the guy that's gonna be the one treating them? So, and Gambia is a small place. Almost everybody knows everybody in sections. Like if you go to where I grew up, you can tell where I was born, when I was born, who my parents are. You don't need to read a book to find that out, you know. But with Jammeh, there's so much sky. Nobody knows, where this guy came from. Everybody starts telling us about him when he was almost like, when I did the research, we had 80 years missing in his life that nobody has ever spoken about. From birth, nobody went to his, in Africa, I don't know about, where your parents are from, but in Africa, when you have a baby after 7 days, it's a big ceremony. That's when they name the child. Naming ceremonies, even if you don't have anything, it's like sometimes it's one of those days that people dress up in their fine clothes. It's probably one of those days some people eat meat, because that's the only time you can go to somebody's house and they kill maybe, a goat, a sheep, a pig, cow, or whatever, you know. But and then you have the circumcision. It's in the bush. That's another big celebration. So there's no way Jamaica can skip all these events that nobody can actually say, hey, I was at Jamaica's, I was at Jamaica's christening, or I was at Jamaica's, it's called Tampof, initiation uh, for passage ceremony. So there's no record of, there's no photographs, so there's no videos. I understand those days, maybe those things are scarce, but they're still missing. Like there's nothing to actually say. So some people have good reason to believe that he was actually, brought to the Gambia, but he wasn't born there. So he might have been brought there when he was very young. So these are the things that we looked into. So we looked at the records, the government census records. We looked at the military career, his, education, and then we added all the years and took it out because he took power when he was 29 years. So when we removed all those years from the 29 years of his living life up to the point of the coup d'etat, we were stuck with 80 years that we couldn't do any, we couldn't find any records or anything. So those are the years that we need to find out to ascertain his citizenship and his birthplace and birth date. So yeah,
Wow.
it's shrouded in mystery.
And I'm assuming there's not many authors from Gambia, so you can be one of the few that's bringing in a new form of knowledge to the society.
Yeah, this is the first time Jammeh's case has actually been peeled, one layer at a time. It's the first time a book has been written about Yaya Jammeh himself, about who is this enigmatic guy that nobody knew. Like he just woke up one morning and decided to depose a legitimately, elected government with no education, no, higher education or political experience or any form of political skills or any form of political, credentials.
And what what
He
what
decided. Mhm.
what's a type of people do you think this book will help? Is it other African countries that might go through a similar coup d'etat? They can take some lessons from Gambia or other people abusing this?
Yeah, I mean, this book is more like to me, I look at it like a Bible. This should be, because if you look at, all these military coup d'etats, they all have something similar to Yahya Jammeh. A lot of them, they're from the rural areas. They're very poor, from very poor backgrounds, very ambitious people, very, very charismatic and, enigmatic, you know, characteristics that you cannot really tell, you know, what they're gonna become. Like to some point, you might find them very clownish. You know, like if you look at Idi Amin, if you look at Mobutu Sese Seko, you look at Yaya Jammeh, you look at the Charles Taylors, you look at um, like you look at Sierra Leone,
Yeah.
um, you know, all these other countries. If you look at every leader that took these actions, They share very common characteristics with Yahya Jammeh. So what this book is gonna teach people is, it's not everything that glitters is gold. When these people come and give you promises after staging a coup, there's nobody has ever fulfilled any promise from these coupists. In the beginning, they would look like saints and messiahs, but you know, when you undress them, they're actually like lions and vultures underneath. So their tendencies and their promises don't and their actions they don't match. So there's no point trusting, in somebody wearing a uniform that comes and deposes another legitimately elected president because it's just going to be chaos and misery and destitute. That's all it always comes down to. So Africans need to read this book to also open their eyes of characteristics because this book actually analyzes Yahya Jammeh, the man himself. So it analyzes the behaviors of these people from childhood. Some of them, like Jammeh, had issues with kingship, which is foster care. That's how he grew up. Like in Gambia, foster care is seen as you know, it's a big avenue for poor people to actually have their children in school, have their children in not only school, but in better to do better in life. So it's almost like how people leave their countries, for greener pastures in Europe. Foster care was also seen like similar because it helped poor people take their kids to rich, urban uh, urban areas where they can go to school, they can like have a good education. Sometimes if the family is good to them, they might even be adopted into the family. So they become part of the family, which Jammeh was lucky because the family that hosted him, they actually took him in like their own. They bought him clothes during Christmas and Eid, the Muslim festival. They basically treated him like their own, you know. Whatever they give their children, they give to him. They buy him books, school uniforms, shoes. They paid for his schooling,
Mhm.
and they gave him somewhere to live. But still, when he took power, he rewarded them. He gave them ministerial positions, like the children of his guardians. He gave them ministerial positions, like the Minister of Tourism, the Ministry of Trade. Those were like his own. He calls them brother and sister, but they were from his foster family. So he is almost like a loyal guy to his own people. If you are related to him or you've done something for him in the past, he feels compelled to reward you. So he doesn't see the position as an executive position. He sees the position like an opportunity that you know if you stage a coup and you succeed, you can do whatever you want. There's no protocol. There's nothing. So he doesn't understand the presidency. He doesn't understand the actual chair that he was sitting on. He doesn't understand the title, but he just looks at it like he staged a coup and it succeeded and he's in charge, you know. That's how he looked at the whole thing. He didn't look at it like from an executive perspective, like a job. You could be the CEO of a company, but you have to deliver. You don't just have to sit there and make crazy decisions just because you're the CEO. Nobody holds you accountable. And, that's how he just run the country.
Why do you think that more of these dictator types come into a region like Africa than in Europe and the United States? Is it something, yeah, political or yeah, do you see that pattern?
It's just the system. In Africa, there's no system. With the level of illiteracy like in the past, And you know, like our parents, they didn't go to school. So a lot of them, the ones that went to school, actually always put wool over their faces because they felt like they were the intelligent ones, and the ones that didn't go to school, they're the dumb ones. But in America, there's so many people that have not completed school, but they're not dumb. They're all doing businesses. In Africa, doing business is seen as a waste of time. So that's why if you look at the African business market, it's mostly run by foreigners. You have people from India, from Lebanon, from Morocco, from Mauritania, like in Gambia. All the business community are foreigners. Gambians don't believe in business. They don't believe in trading. What they believe is in petty. You know, you go get fruits or banana here. You sit and sell it all day. You know, they don't think of because the bank also the institutions are not equipped to help the people. Like they don't give the people loans to, you know, to improve or increase their business horizons. So the facilities are there, but they would rather give it to foreigners. The bank doesn't trust Gambians. They trust foreigners more than their own people. If a Gambian went to the bank, they will not give him a loan. A foreigner could come to the country yesterday, and tomorrow you see them like acting like they're gods, you know? So it's just the mentality and the system has to change first.
And
Because the way people
how old were you when you left Gambia?
I left Gambia when I was 17, 18.
Okay. And you moved to the
Yeah.
United Kingdom first and
I,
then
I yeah, so I moved to the UK until 2012. So I've lived in the UK for almost um so I left 96 up to 2012. That's almost 28 years
wow,
I've lived in the UK. Yeah.
16 years. 16 years. And
Yeah.
then you've
So
been since then you've been in Silicon Valley, yeah?
yeah, so I've been here 10 years.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
you've got an international perspective that few Gambians do because they only see Gambia from inside Gambia.
Yeah. I mean, there was points I was going to Gambia every 3 times every year.
Wow. So you have a love,
So
you have a real love
yeah,
for the country, huh?
yeah, I invest everything I earned in England and in up to date, I've always tried to invest in Gambia, you know, but it's always the same story. You even buy land, they will sell the land to 10 other people, you know. It's like, it's just a roller coaster of emotions and just disappointments, you
Do
know.
you have a plan to
And
go back to Gambia at some stage? Do you think
I,
you
I,
would?
I had a plan. I mean, the last people you obviously trusted were the lawyers and, you know, people in the judiciary and all this. But when you go and see all the disappointments and promises that are not fulfilled, you know, and the resources you are being asked and everything, if you add all those things for somebody who actually has worked in, you know how hard it is in England to even make a penny,
Yeah.
you know. So imagine like you literally make the money, you can't even live a good life because you just worried about, you know, your country. You just worried about Gambia.
Yeah.
And then it turns out your efforts, you help people, they end up like crapping on you. You try to elevate somebody's life and they be like your worst enemy. I don't understand. Like how you gonna put your own money, your own time into somebody just to help them. Sometimes you're not even related to them. You
Mhm.
just do these things. And then it turns out like some kind of cat race, you know? So
Yeah.
it's really absurd and unbelievable.
Perfect. But Albert, I just wanted to say congratulations because I think look, first of all, I want to talk about like how the power of the internet to change business and community. I went on a LinkedIn Live, which you heard,
Mm,
which I was talking about, publishing a book in 90 days. You listened to
mm,
it, you took some action, we spoke, you took some action, and within a few weeks, now you're a published author. You have your book on Amazon, you have a physical copy of your book, and now the next step begins. Because what I say to authors, it's not
mm,
just publishing the book, but now
mm,
promoting it. And also, I know we love that people will buy it in the millions. A lot of
mm,
times you will have to give away the gift to influential people. You have now become an influential person in the Gambian
mm,
society. Now, what will happen is if you send it out to a few TV stations, they
mm,
will want you on their show, just like I'm interviewing you. They'll get you
mm,
on, and you can go on media, you can talk about this, and you do this. We also set up your website, alberecorrea.com, which
uh-huh,
which basically has a landing page, as it were, because you also want to be careful of putting all your eggs on the social media basket because Facebook
mm,
could ban your website, your page at any time.
mhm,
Like, so you want to be careful and protected on that. So
mhm,
congratulations once again on being an author. You're a first-time author now,
mhm,
right? First time author. And I think from what I met and when we spoke, your thing was fear of publishing, right? Because
yeah,
the fear of criticism, people will find mistakes in my book, the grammar.
mm,
And I help
mm,
people deal with that all the time because
mm,
uh because actually what's important is the message, the message that you put in the book, which people are gonna understand, they're gonna like, and they're gonna be
mm,
like, wow, this guy really put in a few years worth of research. The book looks good.
mm,
I've skimmed through
mm,
it. It's really interesting.
mhm,
And basically, you are gonna help the next generation of Gambians because they don't
mhm,
have the same problem come in again because they can learn from this dictator that you've done.
mhm.
Yes?
Yeah, yeah. That's the whole idea, is just to get the book,
Yeah.
published. Like you told me, just publish it, which I felt was the
Yeah.
best advice that I have gotten, because otherwise I won't be able to do this by myself,
Okay.
you know.
Uh, Albert, your screen is sharing. So,
But
but
hold on, let me change it. I need to
okay.
take it off.
So that is great. And yeah, we will do this. You want to show something, or we'll call it a wrap?
Yeah, we can call it. Let me cancel this. I
Okay,
accidentally pressed.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations, Albert, on being an author.
Thank
Uh,
you for the support and the help and everything. Without you, definitely this wouldn't have, you know, you've actually proved your word.
sure.
What you told me is exactly what I got. I did not get, and the patience you guys have with all the team, I want to thank everybody, all of them. Mahesh, Sam, and was it Ume or Uma?
Osama. Osama is your
Sama.
graphic designer. I mean, I think your graphics look great as well when I see your thing
Yeah.
come.
What's the
The
graphics? Is it Ume that did it? I think it's Umesh, or what's his name?
Uzair Osama.
Osama, yeah.
Osama, and
Osama
then
and
Mariam did your website and Sam helped
yeah,
with your
yeah.
publishing.
Mariam is brilliant. She actually said to me, I told Amir, you are our best client. I said,
Yeah.
oh no, you guys made it easy. So it's all about teamwork. If I
Yeah.
win, we win. That's the whole concept. There's nothing like nothing shady or anything. It's
Yeah.
teamwork.
And you know what I teach people about creating wealth is that you provide value and it can be done from anywhere. Now, I started my business from London, but currently
Mhm,
I'm based in Islamabad in Pakistan, which has had its
mhm,
own challenges with dictators and all this like religious
mm,
abuse,
mm,
similar issues to Gambian. And basically, what I do is say, look, in the internet world, we can be based from anywhere. And let's start businesses that a lot of us go back to our native countries and do this. Like native countries, like
mm,
you could have the next generation of Alberes learning
mm,
from America, the England, and they can set up
mm,
digital businesses like what I've done is a publishing business, which is
mm,
helping people like you bring their books out to market. But
mm,
there's much scope for creating global brands from places like Gambia. So I think you're going to have smart people like you when they get passionate about reading your book, and
mm,
you obviously have a love for the country.
mm,
Not There's opportunities to explore in Gambia and then help we as immigrants, we feel
mm.
a connection with our native countries like you have, right?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think this
yeah,
is brilliant because you've done a book that's a few years of your life, right? It's knowledge,
yeah.
but it's
Mm-hmm.
also an asset, right? Like people
Mm,
invest in building a house with like 6 bedrooms, or they buy a car, but
mm,
those assets you don't have a control over. Like you have built a knowledge asset, which is a book,
mm.
which
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like much, but then the book can be distributed to heads of
Yeah,
state.
it's a tangible asset.
Yeah.
It's
It,
something that lives forever. It's like a generational wealth
it
type.
it goes to people. Yeah, exactly. So that will be done. So thank you. I want to thank you so much, Albert, for being a client of Amir and Zor,
Mm,
and best wishes with the book. Will help you continue to promote it, because it's just the beginning. We're gonna go through ups and downs, but
mm-hmm.
Audacity is the name of the book. Albere
Yeah.
Junior
Mm-hmm.
Correa
Yep.
is the author. It's available on Amazon. Go get it. It'll be an
Mm.
interesting read, and you
Change
will
the
learn.
perspective. It will change a lot. So my last question would be like, what do you like about the book? What is it that actually caught your attention to working with me when I first introduced you to my whole editorial auditorial book writing? What is it that the book actually made? What made you actually say,
For
this might
me,
be something? Mm,
there was because I'm originally from Pakistan, and there was
mm,
like a dictator in the 80s called Zia-ul-Haq, who
mm,
served for like 10 years. And I'm not so politically involved, but like the people always talk about how he brought in religion to like cement
mm,
his like grip on power, right?
mm, mm,
And I was
mhm.
like, actually, us countries can learn from each other, right? So like, if Gambian is done that from what you described of Jamia, like
Mm,
he used religion and
mm,
spirituality to
mm,
abuse his power, and this is what
mm,
what people do, and I want people to look outside and understand how wealth creation is done, right? And so, like,
mm,
I want to teach people about creating wealth, and
mm,
sometimes they can't do that because, like, the dictator or the leader has told them, if you do this, like, the bad spirits will come, and if you don't vote for me, like, so
mm,
they abuse religion to that,
mm,
because anyone can, right? Like, one thing I love about America and Silicon Valley, where you're based, is that you know you're successful because you have $18 billion in the bank, right? Like it's
yeah,
a capitalist run society. So Elon
that's
Musk,
it.
everyone can follow Elon Musk and say he's
Mm,
successful because he's worth the most amount of money. And
mm,
with religion, you can't say this guy is worth following too, because no one's actually gone into heaven and come
yeah,
back and
don't
say
come
like
back.
I've been to heaven. So people,
Yeah,
it's a blind
there's no
leading the
revelation.
blind.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful of that. So yeah, so I could relate to other countries and what you wrote, helping helping other countries, like, being for you to get invited as an ambassador or an advisor to
Mm-hmm.
to say what you guys learned in Gambia from your experience and how to
Mm-hmm.
avoid it next time, right? So
Yeah,
that's why
right.
I think it's a powerful book, and I want to help people publish books that have a meaning and a passion behind it. And you were so, like, when we spoke, you were so passionate behind the book and the concept. I was like, okay, this guy's gonna make something out of it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a good read. I mean, it's a 300 page book. So it's not like you know, a quick, with this book, you have to get your tea, your coffee, your ice cream, your popcorn, because it's gonna be like a roller coaster. One minute, we're talking about his childhood. The next minute, all the killings and the atrocities and stuff. And then the next minute, we're actually talking about his polygamy lifestyle. And the next minute, embezzlement. In the next minute, drug dealing. So it's the next minute, how how he said he can cure HIV/AIDS and all this other stuff. So it's a roller coaster of so many emotions. So
Yeah.
this book is just it's entertaining, it's educating, it's like even me writing and rereading the whole book, I almost cried at one point, like when I got to the part of the spirituality and how he just used Islam to Islamize the whole country just to basically like put wool over these people's heads. And it's almost like a daylight robbery. Somebody comes to your house with no gun, talks his way in and basically just scams you and walks away. That's how I look at it. Like he just literally scammed Gambians broad daylight. And until today, some people can't even see what he just did to them because of loyalty. And, like you said, he's done favors for them. So it's almost like you scratch my back, I scratch yours type of a relationship where citizens are no more patriotic. They're only interested in self-interest, motives and benefits they can get from you. People only value other people from how much they can get out of you. If they can get nothing from you, then they would go to social media and bash you or talk trash about you and all this. But as long as the financial machine is grinding and locomotively moving, they are your best friends. So there's no genuine relationships, even in governments nowadays. Everything is just based on interest and what they can get out of it, and that's it. And Jammeh was the perfect because if you obviously gave him money, you are his best friend. He will invite you and even do push-ups with you. You know how many presidents he actually made to push up, like in front of cameras and everything. So he makes you like, it's almost like looking for a bride. You have to pretend until you get the bride, and then you can show them your true colors. And then it ends up in divorce, and then you have to start all over again. That's all his relationships are based on. His bilateral relationships are just like an economic prostitute. Like he would deal with you based on how much you can give him. The more you give him, the more he allows you, opens you to the country. You can come, he will give you land, he will give you access. When that favor is over, then he will tell you to leave in 48 hours, through an executive order. And he did it to the West. He moved to the Arabs. When that didn't work, he moved to South America, started the drug dealing business. When that didn't work, he moved to Iran, started the arms dealing business with Victor Bout, the Russian guy. When that failed, then he had no choice. He started forcing people to go back to the land to farm. he calls it eat what you grow and grow what you eat, something like that, you know. And people bought into all these things. And it's sad, like sitting here and watching or reading the book, you see how somebody can just manipulate a whole country
Mm.
in a, you know, a short span of time.
And what
But
I like
anyways, thank
about what I like
you.
about working with you, you're ambitious, right? So you're already thinking about the movie rights and those types of deals where you can you know make something even better, bigger with the book. So that's
Mhm.
going to be great seeing that come in 2024 and beyond
Mhm.
what we can do. But let's focus on book and marketing of it and then take it from
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I thank you, man. I mean, I appreciate you a lot. You go have a restful day, and we will definitely continue this conversation.
Okay, Albert, congratulations on being an author from Amir and Zur Publishing, and we will
Thank you.
do this. Thank you.